Hello, good evening, student. Today we are going to talk about one more book of physics, and it is a very surprising book. It is an encyclopedia of physics. It is very useful for the students who are preparing for the intermediate exam as well as the competitive exam. The book name is A Modern Handbook of Physics, and it is published by Mir Publisher of Moscow. As you can see, the book itself is very interesting where the equation is written, and you can see over here the equation is written over here of the Maxwell's heat equation is written, and here you can find the author's name is there, that is B.M. Yervansky and A.A. Detlef, and again you can see here some potential curve is shown. And then the book is in the hardbound book, and here also you can see some diagrams are shown of this curl of electric field is equal to minus dv upon dt. Some equations are printed, as well as when the particle is going in an arc, it has two acceleration, one is the tangential and one is the radial acceleration, right? And here the book is printed about the some description of the books, that what topics it is going to cover. It covers the our usual, that is classical physics, quantum mechanics, and the relative physics, and the high energy particle physics, as well as it is given that is fundamental of molecular physics, thermodynamics, oscillation and wave, solid state physics, elementary particle physics. And it is designed primarily for the engineering student as well as the college and the university students studying but not majoring in physics. So here this description is given that this book is for which type of student, and it is a very quite old book, and here you can see the symbol of the Mir publisher is there. Also, when you open the book, on the first page it is given that is translated from the Russian by Nicholas Weinstein, and it is a book name is there, Modern Handbook of Physics. Author name is there, B.M. Weinstein and A. Detlef. And here you find the topic starts, and it is first published in 1982. It is a 1982 book, and you can see it is so old book. And here you will find the part 1 as usual in our intermediate class or in our physics, that it starts from this mechanics, and you can see the kinematics is given over here, and the mechanical motion and the frame of reference, and then it talks about the velocity and acceleration and translatory and rotational motion of a rigid body. And this is chapter number 1, that is mechanics. And also the subheading is given 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5. And then we come to chapter number 2, that is Newton laws, Newton first laws of motion, and it gives inertial frame of reference, Newton's second law of motion, Newton's third law of motion, motion of a body of variable mass, Galileo transformation. Then about work and mechanical energy, kinetic energy is given, work energy and power is given. And then as you turn the page, you will find over here again it is given of the potential energy. Again the topic, it talks about the potential energy and the law of conservation of mechanical energy, perfectly elastic and inelastic collision, dynamics of rotatory motion, fundamentals of special theory of relativity, then about the gravitation, then motion in the non-inertial frame of reference. That is a non-inertial frame of reference, how we observe the motion. And also principle of equivalence is given, inertial forces. Here it talks about the Sudia forces, that is inertial forces. And then when we come in the part 2, as usual, these fundamental of molecular physics and thermodynamics is discussed, where the ideal gas properties are discussed, and here equation of state of ideal gas, as we are familiar, PV is equal to nRT. Then thermodynamics variables, that is the pressure, volume and the temperature, and the statistical and thermodynamics methods of investigation. Then the first law of thermodynamics, that is total and internal energy of system, heat and work, graphical representation of thermodynamics. And then we find the kinetic theory of gases is there, where the mean free path of the molecule, principle of equipartition of energy, transport phenomenon of gases and then properties of rarefied gas. And second law of thermodynamics, it is a Carnot cycle, reversible and irreversible process. And then when we come in the future part of the book, entropy is also discussed over here. The statistical interpretation of the second law of thermodynamics is discussed. The third law of thermodynamics, real gas and vapor, superfluidity of helium, and the surface tension of liquids, which is a very important lesson for this 12th class, wetting and the capillary phenomenon. And then when you come in the part 3, there is electrodynamics, where it talks about electric charges and Coulomb's law, electric field strength and displacement, and the electric field and potential, the capacitance, dielectric in an electric field, that is dipole moment of the molecules of dielectric, polarization of dielectric, ferroelectric materials. Ferroelectric materials, very less books talk about the ferroelectric materials. And then you find energy of electric field, energy of charge conductor and an electric field, energy of polarized dielectric, direct electric current, concept of electric current, that is fundamentals of classical electron theory, electrical conduction of metals, direct current laws, Ohm's law is there, Joule's law, Kirchhoff's law. And this when we go further, we come across the chapter number 22, where electric current in liquid and gases. Then chapter number of 23, magnetic field of direct current, where it talks about the Ampere's law, Biot-Savart's law, and then the interaction of the conductors. Then work done in a moving current carrying conductor in the magnetic field. Then in chapter number 24, action of charged particle in electric and magnetic field, where it talks about the Hall effect and the Lorentz force and the charged particle accelerator. Then about electromagnetic induction is there, that is the basic laws of electromagnetic induction, the phenomenon of self-induction and mutual induction. And then we come the magnetic materials in the magnetic field, ferromagnetic material, magnetic moment of electrons in atom, fundamentals of Maxwell's theory, that is Maxwell's equations are discussed. And the part 4, that means the book is divided into total, let me say, it is divided into part 5 is optics, part 7 is solid state physics, part 8. So you will find the book is total divided into part 9, where the 9 is appendix, and part 8 you will find it is of nuclear physics and elementary particles, where different topics of nuclear physics like radioactivity, alpha decay and elementary particles also it is there in this book. And this way in this parts 8 it is about the part 7, if you talk, it is covering the basic solid state physics. So you can see such an highly informative book it is. Structure of the solid it talks about, and the chapter number 41 it gives an outline of the quantum physics of the solid, where you can see the advanced topic of physics is discussed over here, the Bose, Einstein and Fermi-Dirac distribution function. Then we can see over here the superconductivity is discussed, band theory of solid is discussed, and here you will find this degeneracy of system of particles described by these quantum statistics. So the advanced topics are discussed. And the part 6 it talks about the atomic and the molecular physics. You can see over here it talks about the quantum mechanics, that is the elements of quantum mechanics, Schrodinger wave equation, motion of a free particle, linear harmonic oscillator. And again in the chapter number 39 it talks about the hydrogen atoms and the Raman scattering of light, stimulated emission of radiation. So such a large number of topics it is covered in this book, and very widely and highly informative book. It is like polarization of light is covered over here in the optics, which comes in the part 5. Interference of light is there, diffraction of light is there, holography is discussed. So highly informative book it is, and quite it is divided into part 9, and the part 9 is the appendix, and it is showing up to page number, that is you can see over here 695. That means such a deeply book it is, in a very large number of pages it is covering a large number of topics. And here you find the author discusses about the a motivation of the physics. It talks about in such a way that student is motivated to read in the physics. And here we come to mechanics, and that is a kinematics, mechanical motion, the subject matter of mechanics, where it talks about the Newton's mechanics and the kinematics, and then it gives the introduction, and then as you turn the pages it talks about the frame of reference. Here the r vector is equal to xi plus yj plus zk. It is a three-dimensional vector, position vector. And then as you go further you find it is the diagrams are given, and as usual as if you are reading a textbook. And here the velocity, the definition of velocity, that is average velocity as well as instant velocity. It talks about instant velocity is the rate of change of position, and the average velocity is change in position upon change in time. And then as we go on moving, you find here the acceleration, it is discussed. And then translational and rotational motion. What do you mean by translational and rotatory motion? Similarly, when a particle goes on a curve, which was the same diagram which was there in the let us say the opening of the book, that a particle has two acceleration, that is radial as well as the tangential. So when a particle moves in the curve, same way it talks about the centripetal acceleration, that is v square by r, when the particle moves in a curve. And then it talks about this angular velocity. You can see over here in kinematics it talks about the angular velocity. And as we go moving the pages ahead, you find now we have come to Newton laws. Newton first law, initial frame of reference, force. So you find the force is discussed over here, mass and the momentum. And then as we turn the pages you find the change of momentum equation is given, which is very important, that is impulse. The change of momentum you will find over here, it is the time integral of force. And here you will find the change of momentum is given, which is the time integral of the force. Very important equation, Newton's laws of motion. Then it talks about the Newton's second law, that force is equal to rate of change of momentum. And as we go on proceeding the chapters wise, as we are turning the pages, you can see over here the mechanics is their law of conservation of momentum. And then we are coming in chapter number 3, that is work and mechanical energy. Here it talks about the concept of energy, work and the power. Okay, the power it talks about, and this way it talks about this work done and potential energy, as it's potential energy in this. Quite an interesting book, and it covers the whole of the physics in the 600 pages. Quite interesting it is, and it is covering the whole of the physics in 600 pages. That means just reading the 600 pages you are going to get the thorough knowledge of the physics. And here it talks about the dynamics of rotatory motion, that is moment of force and the angular momentum. And here there is collision, that is elastic and inelastic collision. As you go on turning the pages, and you find now there is a fundamental laws in the dynamics of rotational motion. And here it gives the table of the moment of inertia of different objects, which is usually found in all the books. Okay, so then you will find that as we turn the pages it talks about the special theory of relativity, which is not discussed in our elementary books, fundamentals. And it talks about the relativity. It gives different concepts of relativity, like it is giving the concept of the Lorentz transformation. Here you find it talks about the Lorentz transformation, and here it is giving the equation of time dilation. And here that is time dilation is given, and these equations are written over here, that is transformation of velocity and acceleration in relative kinetics. So it gives the equations over here. The mass energy relation is discussed, and this is a relativistic mass equation. M is equal to m0 upon under root 1 minus v square upon c square. The same way mass energy relation is discussed over here. The relativistic equations are discussed, and then gravitation. Basically, it covers the whole of the physics over here. If you go to see, again, it is covering the inertial forces, that is the zodiac forces. And as we go on turning the pages, you will find we come in the first law of thermodynamics. And now we have come in the heat chapter, where you will see in very detail it is covering the whole heat chapter over here, very detailed. You will find the whole detail it is covering the heat chapter. And if you read this book, as if you will find it as if you are reading a textbook over here. And it is covering all the parts of the physics, entropy and the free energy, properties of rarefied gas. Okay, and it is covering the whole physics. And here you will find one good table is given of the different processes which is happening over here. And here it gives the process isobaric and the isochoric, isothermal and adiabatic. It gives the whole table, so very good for the preparation of competitive exams for students who are preparing for CAT and NEET and JEE. And it is a heat topics are very widely it is discussed over here, also for the IIT JAM students. And here you will find then again this ferroelectric materials, displacement and polarization vectors. So this way electrostatics is covered over here. And surface tension topic is also very chapter number 13. It talks about the surface tension, and you will find the surface tension of liquids, what is the wetting and capillary phenomenon. And here you can see why the liquid surfaces are curved, that is concave and convex. And this way boiling of the liquids, vaporization. And then we come to this electrostatics part, electrodynamics. It is electrostatics, dielectric and electric field and so on, and different topics it is covering. And then here you can see the basics of quantum mechanics is also discussed over here in this book. And here you can see the different types of Maxwell's equation. Of course, there is also Maxwell's equation over here. Now you can see over here that is Coulomb's law is there, and as we go on turning the pages, you find the definition of Coulomb's law is given in the dielectric material, where F is equal to constant Q1 into Q2 divided by dielectric constant into R square. And then it goes further and it talks about the superposition principle. It discusses about the electric field, that is the definition of electric field, force per unit charge. And then it talks about the superposition principle, superposition of the electric field as well as force and Gauss theorem. Here you can see the equation of the Gauss law is there in SI unit. And then electric potentials of an electrostatic field. And this way as polarization of dielectric. So very quite it is in deep, like polar dielectric, permanent dipole which is placed in homogeneous external electrostatic field. And here the potential energy of the dipole in electric field, that is minus P bar dot E bar, that is minus P into cos theta. So this way different types of equation, Debye-Langevin formula is also there. And in quite a detailed manner each and every topic is covered. A very useful book, very important book, very rare book, and a very strong book which is covering large number of topics in a compact form, energy in an electric field. But to study this book it requires a high amount of concentration, because you may find the important parts are just hidden in one or two sentences. Energy of polarized dielectric, the fundamentals of classical electron theory of electrical conduction in metal. It is very important for the students who are going to major in physics, because it is covering a wide number of topics. And you can see there is electromagnetic induction. It is the basic laws of electromagnetic phenomenon of self-induction. If self-induction is there, that means there will be mutual induction also. And here the process of mutual induction is also discussed. And it is talking in both SI unit as well as in Gaussian unit. This is a good thing that it talks the whole electromagnetism in both the units, SI as well as Gaussian. very important book. Then you can see over here magnetic field in magnetic material, and here you can see the Maxwell's equations are given, the Maxwell's second equation. So it talks about the Maxwell's equation. As we go further, you will find here Lissajous figure is shown over here, that is combination of two oscillations. And then very important book, highly quite in detail it covers each of the topic. And optics, here you can see it is the interference of light topic is discussed over here, and diffraction of the light, Fraunhofer diffraction. And then as we go further, you will find many topics are covered. This is holography, it is covering in the optics. And then there is a scattering of light, normal and anomalous light dispersion. So this way it covers large number of equation. Double refraction is there. And as I'm turning the pages, here you find it talks about the Compton effect. Compton effect is also discussed over here. And here you can see the photoelectric effect is discussed. Fundamentals, it is a fundamental of quantum optics is there. Planck's formula is there. So this is a Planck's formula is equation is given over here. And the book is highly informative. Boltzmann law, Stephans-Boltzmann and Wien's law, highly informative book really. And then quantum mechanics as usually starts with Heisenberg principle, that is uncertainty in position multiplied by uncertainty momentum, that is equal to h cross by 2, that is this is HUP equation. And then it talks about the quantum mechanics, space quantization, and so on. Very large number of topics are covered here. You can see we are covering the lasers and Bose-Einstein and Fermi direct distribution, basic concept of quantum statistics. You can see the students who are going to major in physics, this book is a Bible for them. The degenerate electron Fermi gas in metals. I am covering the whole topics of the book. Heat capacity in solid. Very crucial book it is. Normal state, it is superconductivity. So large superconductivity is also discussed over here. And as you can see, as we are turning the pages, more and more knowledge of physics we are gaining, more and more knowledge in a short book. Electrical conduction of a semiconductor. This book is a must for a student who is preparing to be a major in physics. Radioactivity is there, and here it talks about the nuclear forces. And here you can see that is electric quadrupole moment of the nucleus. Here the equation is given. Electric quadrupole moment of the nucleus. So this way it also covers in the part 8 we have reached, where it covers the nuclear physics, Mosber effect, and you can see the quite advanced topics are covered, and which is going to be covering the concepts of the physics, and it is going to cover the fundamentals, clear the fundamentals of the student who is going to major in physics, antiparticle. This is all about the elementary physics it discussed over here. Elementary physics, and here you can see the whole table is given over here. One table is given of the elementary particles over here. All elementary particles are discussed, like hyperons and the baryons and the fermions, the whole elementary leptons and mesons, elementary particle, whole table is given over here. It is written over here, preliminary information on elementary particles. So it gives the basics of elementary particles, and all the elementary particle reactions are discussed. And then it goes further, the classification of elementary particle and their interaction. And then we come to certain information of elementary particles, and here you can see the different types of reactions of the elementary particles are shown. And this we come at the end of the book, where it covers at the page number 675. So you can see it covers the page about the twice of two books, and it covers all the concepts in quite detail. And then we are coming to this appendix, which is part 9. Here this, as usual, the fundamentals are covered, that is system of units, and different, that is conversion of units is given. And this way some fundamental constants are discussed, okay, and dimensions are given. So, and the last, that is index, where you can search whichever topic you want and which page number it is. So this way it covers the whole of the physics, and in the last page itself you can see again there are equations printed over here. And this is I think it is an equation of EMF over here. And here that is this is a reaction of the cloud chamber, and here the quantum equation are given of de Broglie wavelength and about the Schrodinger equations and so on. So quite an informative book and must book, which is for a student majoring in physics. The book name is, it is Modern Handbook of Physics. Modern Handbook of Physics, and all good things are coming in a short form. Thank you everybody.